Electrolytes are another important part of the building blocks of human life because electrolytes are responsible for so many functions in the body in one way or another. Now, the most common electrolytes that have multiple applications in the body are electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, magnesium. Those are all very, very important electrolytes in the human body, and multiple body processes, including muscle movement, are highly dependent on the right quantities and function of these electrolytes in order to perform appropriately. Sodium and potassium are perhaps the most important of all of the electrolytes because they are essentially, they're just vital to muscle motion, muscle movement, and that's not just skeletal muscle, that's smooth muscle and cardiac muscle as well. And basically, the oversimplified version of how that important exchange works out is this. To produce a contraction, sodium and potassium switch sides of that cell membrane that we've talked about. So we have one that floods into the cell, one that floods out of the cell, and we get a contraction when they move, and then they reset themselves and they become potential energy again, ready for another contraction. When sodium and potassium are imbalanced, then muscle movement is impeded. You've probably experienced at some point or seen someone experience cramps associated with not overwhelming, but excessive amounts of exercise or something like that. Those are usually the result of electrolyte imbalances that are causing the muscles to contract either more forcefully or more frequently than they would otherwise contract because you have an imbalance of things like calcium, sodium, potassium. If the level of sodium and potassium fall out of range enough, all muscle movement will stop. In the old lethal injection protocol, 3-drug protocol, the final drug given in the lethal injection protocol was potassium. And what the purpose of potassium is, in that case, is to flood the bloodstream with free potassium. Normally, sodium is sort of floating freely in high quantity. Potassium's on the inside of the cell membrane in much smaller quantities. At a certain juncture, when there is equal potassium outside the cell and inside the cell, there is no more potential for muscle to make a contraction because sodium and potassium don't shift sides like they're supposed to because we actually have the equal amount of potassium inside and outside, so we get no contraction. That causes paralysis of all smooth and skeletal muscle, and it causes paralysis of the heart muscle and actually results in the heart stopping in that case as well. So electrolytes bring all kinds of problems, or electrolyte imbalances bring all kinds of problems, and we'll explore some of those as we go, but it is just very important to remember that the role of electrolytes in the human body is profound, and a great deal of them relate to the maintenance of muscle tissue, including smooth or voluntary muscle and cardiac muscle.